Welcome everyone, Dr. Thor here. Get ready for Gnosis. Well, we're going to look at here tachyons. What are tachyons? What is tachyons, etc. Well, people have been claiming they're making tachyons. It must be over 30 years now. There was an original company in Japan making tachyon drawing material. And what they are is, again, is accumulator materials. Terms are bandied around when people use the term generator. And these kind of things are very, it shows the lack of understanding that these people have. Are you generating it? So they're basically accumulators, and accumulators are famous in areas like orgone, or the orgone accumulator, which accumulates energy from the atmosphere. So tachyons have been around for a long time, and there's, as I said, the Japanese firm, which I'm not sure if they're still around, but they have been. They were internationally selling their products at a lot of New Age fairs, as was Advanced Tachyon Products, which I sold for many years and finally stopped selling them. They were really junk, like all tachyons that are out there, because they just really cannot accumulate enough. There's a couple of other American groups out there who are making these, and all of them are very low level. They don't really understand how to accumulate what are basically scalar fields. I'm the only one who has figured out how to basically grab and use scalar energy fields in my very unique way of doing it. Very empowered, using lasers, special coding, etc. This is a proprietary procedure that I have, and I'm using it in my new machines, etc. But we must understand that there's basically three fields that are commonly thrown around in terms of talk that are scalar in nature. And scalar means non-electromagnetic. And many traditional scientists who think they know something but produce nothing don't believe anything has energy if it's not electromagnetic in nature. I believe there was even one scientist who actually wrote a book on that. It just shows you how ignorant they are and what a little box they're in. And the religion of science is so boring, and they do so nothing, but they cash big checks and get a lot of money for doing nothing. And have come up with nothing. There's no breakthroughs in physics, period, in many, many years. Now, they're also, all of these fields, tachyons, neutrinos, and even gravitons, these are the three main scalar fields that people have been interested in for many, many years. Now, the word tachyon came from Gerald Feinberg in 1967, who coined that, from the word tachy, meaning swift in Greek. Of course, they can't make up new words. Let's go back to Greek. That's a typical scientist for you. I'm surprised he didn't name it after himself, the Feinberg particle. Now, these are totally theoretical in nature, in terms of, other than myself who can prove scalar energy through actually what it does, meaning it manifests things, and when you target scalar energy fields on a particular target, that target happens. So the whole idea is that this is very provable and has been done thousands of times. It's really being done every day by people, directly and indirectly. But they don't name it scalar. They've used a whole bunch of stupid other terminology to confuse the field, and of course the scientists love that. But faster than the speed of light has been something that is bandied around for many times. But this comes in direct conflict with stupid physics produced by the boob Einstein. We can't go faster than the speed of light. My feet hurt. I can't run that fast. Boobs like him who put all of science in a box. And of course, science was just, they had to have answers from somebody. So they picked basically the theory of relativity, which Einstein rewrote from documents that were, I don't know, maybe 100 years before that, just like black holes go back 200 years, or should we say dark stars. Only a scientist would call somebody a black hole. I mean, really. Very, very typical. As I said, I'm surprised it wasn't named after somebody, some scientist who would call it. you know, Steinberg's hole. So the whole idea is that we would run into these different things that are very much theorized. And of course, the universe is made up of scalar energy fields that are very difficult to measure and detect because we are looking at the same old stupid electromagnetic, which is a very primitive energy, and yet it is something that can be generated and it can be measured. So that means that's all you think about. But the problem is that the religion of science, which constantly wants to stay in dogma and go with theories that go back 500 years to Newton, who basically was an alchemist and who believed in scalar energies and spent 10 years researching it, and then go back to really boobish people like Einstein, who basically knew little about anything but was pushed ahead in the scientific field for a number of reasons. But basically, everything that he believes in has been proven to be wrong. And most of science now works on some sort of quantum physics understanding of science, which is what Einstein objected to. But you're going to find everybody fighting for that, particularly all those guys with them big salaries that stay in them big schools that go with it. So, and this is the problem with science because it's a religion. They're not investigating, they're confirming their already predetermined dogma. Yeah, like religion. So when we all understand that, that brings us into it. But most people don't. But faster than the speed of light by modern physics is considered impossible thanks to Einstein. So the whole idea is that, so it isn't real. No, it's what. And of course, since you don't believe it's real, you can't in any way prove its existence because it doesn't exist. And since you don't have meters and you don't have ways of judging and quantifying something, you just say it doesn't exist. And of course, this is so typical. And of course, science in general is so fraught with fraud and criminality. I mean, they're basically, most scientists are criminals, making up research reports, selling garbage to the public, and trying to keep their institutions of stupidity, dumbademia, alive and working with idiot technology that does nothing. I mean, what's the matter, science? Can't you figure out how to cure dandruff? How about acne? How about making a non-stick formula that is natural and not toxic to line pizza boxes, cans, and other things? Oh, that's way beyond us, Dr. Tool. We can't possibly do that. All we can do is take some goop and garbage out of sewers that are toxic. Yeah, but, they do seal the can. So, I mean, how can we possibly take these boobs serious? I mean, it's comical of how little they have done in such important areas and continue to feed the populace with their evil science, continue to empower evil men with world-destroying technologies. What's wrong with these people? I mean, this is really sad. But we're supposed to think that they're going to come through with anything, and they've come through with nothing. The bottom line is there is no cure for anything. We do not have any free, safe energy. Those are the two things that we need in life, and they have failed utterly and horribly. Their solution to everything is burn it. Well, what can we generate fuel? Let's burn oil. Let's burn water to turn turbines with nuclear energy. You're sick? Well, we have, of course, for the big C, we'll burn you with toxic mustard gas chemicals. So the whole idea is this is the reality that we are looking at and living in. So faster than the speed of light is very theoretical, even though there are some scientists who claim they have actually got motors working on neutrinos. Now, as I said, there's these three energies: tachyons, neutrinos, and gravitons. And all of these are in the semi-discovery stage. Now, neutrinos, they claim to measure. They do this way underground, and they have some way of, as these penetrate in the ground and slow down, they're somehow able to then capture and quantify them. There are some people that they claim they are working on neutrino engines. Well, this certainly is fascinating. We have to give these people credit because they're working on something that doesn't exist. Or at least that's what science says, or science of now. So So when we get into tachyons, it's very interesting. As I said, there is 3 manufacturers in the United States that I'm aware of, and the 1 Japanese. Now, the Japanese claim they have accumulated tachyons or slowed them down through crushing different semi-precious stones, which then take in the tachyon energy. Well, of course, that makes a certain amount of sense, particularly since you're in the more physical realm. Now, I haven't tested their stuff, but from what I can tell, if they're still in business, their products were mediocre like the rest of them. The other people have been doing the same old process, and basically everybody apparently has actually copied Advanced Tachyon Products, a very questionable organization with very dubious ties. But there's at least 2 other organizations out there other than Advanced Tachyon Technologies. But I'm not here to promote them anymore. I'm going to talk about Advanced Tachyon Technologies because I've sold their products for many years and have done quite a bit of research in the physical reality and got feedbacks from my customer. I sold a fair amount of these. I never was a big fan of them, but they always put out quote positive energies, but they never really did anything. They were very weak. And of course, anybody that's been following me understands that when you test something, and we're going to do it right here with these 2 samples, you test, first of all, is the energy being put out generally positive? That means, does it have a clockwise or positive energy in it? Or does it have counterclockwise or negative and destructive energy? This is very important because a lot of people are putting out products, particularly orgonite, that is deadly and spins horribly negative. So I've never found a single product that spins counterclockwise that is good for you. Things that spin counterclockwise, rat poison, pesticides, gasoline, all of these things, and toxic medications, etc., all spin counterclockwise. So it's very difficult. You won't find a single positive energy that spins counterclockwise. It has to be clockwise. And this is all the basics of learning real pendulum and energy work. And of course, I have courses on this and everything else. People should check this out. So, I mean, that's the first thing you check, and we'll go into that. But as I said, tachyons, because of the nature of them, can't possibly exist because nothing can go faster than the speed of light. And, of course, this has already been disproven, by the way. I think even regular science now admits that they have discovered or can figure out that things are going faster than light because there's instantaneous transfer of information. So how does that happen? It's not the speed of light, it's instantaneous. Light, we hear this in space travel, that's 100 light years away. Meaning to get there would take 100 years going at the speed of light, which is pretty slow if you think about that compared to the distances in the universe. These are unbelievably far distances. I'm not sure if people understand that. Places like the babbled about Mars, which takes 7 months to get there with the speed that we're going. That's obviously not the speed of light, but it takes 7 months to get to Mars with our technology right now. So that's just Mars. So when you start talking about other planets and you keep going further and further out, you're talking about light years. Light years at the speed of light, it would take 100 years to get there. If it's 100 years, light years away. So I hope everybody understands that and understands the mind-boggling distances that everything's at and how we really don't have any methods to do it because of the fact we have people that believe in basically 1930s technologies written by a semi-retarded boob who worked in a patent office. And apparently at older age couldn't comb his hair. So the whole idea is, while I find his witticisms of Einstein amusing and some of his thoughts, this certainly isn't a man that thought very advanced. And of course, everybody grabbed onto him, and he then had to fight with the theory of quantum physics and the instantaneous changing. So all of this is something that we have to understand. Of course, a lot of quantum physics is a little silly as well. That something doesn't exist until you perceive it. When you start getting into that reality, up is down, right is left, nothing makes sense when it is all based in a basically a personal perception at that time. And of course, they've confirmed that this is the fact, that nothing happens until you observe it, by the faulty and kind of strange slit experiment, where they were shooting, I believe what it was, electrons or whatever, through particular slits. And when nobody was watching, it went in perfectly, and when somebody was watching, it went into other ones. Whatever the details of that bogus nonsense is. Let's take it to the Collider in Switzerland. What we do with scientists, we get two old Chevys, and we get them really fast, and we smash them into each other. And whatever pops out of them old Chevys, that's what basically is what the fact of life are. We call that the boson effect, the God particle. Yeah, it comes out of two crashed Chevys. So the whole idea is this is the kind of nonsense. I'm not sure if people understand all that. Like, do people understand what nuclear power is? Nuclear energy runs it, right? No, nuclear power boils water that runs steam engines. Thank you, science. We're still working on steam engines. Oh, wow. So the whole idea is that this is the kind of stuff that's out there that we all have to embrace and understand the silliness of common science and their religious dogma that they live by. So I think that science and religion should get together and understand what kind of corrupt fools they are and how they are really destroying the entire society and have been for, of course, in the case of religion, thousands of years. But there's always been scientists. People don't think that that's not the case. So the whole idea is that we have this. So these tachyon energies are basically supposedly slowed down by these little glass. And these are just 100% glass formed in this particular triangle. They also have ones that are round circles, and of course they have a triangle in there. It comes in a round shape. This manufacturer makes most of its stuff round. And again, it's just a glass cell of different colors. And they have different colors as well. And they like that because they try and use color energy to state that that's what their particular energy puts out. Now, Advanced Tachyon Products, which, as I said, I work with probably for 15 or 20 years because I like the concept of tachyon. And they always, they put out a few little energies, and some people like them and use them. But I've used them extensively and got really no results with them. But the energy was, again, you test stuff. The whole idea is I've offered a lot of different products as a testing model. As long as they're not putting out negative energy, let's see what happens. Let's open it up to a variety of people. Do you like these? Do you feel something from them? And after selling them for long periods of time, there are very few people, I would say 1 or 2% of the people I sold to, said they kind of liked it and it kind of did something. But, that's typical. You should be getting anywhere from 5 to 15% of people that like something just on the placebo effect. And that's one of the problems with research in general. People thinky it, worky, they likey it. And to a certain extent, that's fine, but does it create change? And almost none of this stuff creates change. People used it, some liked it, and they said that they felt a little better with it. They were never cured of anything. Nothing really happened. So this is a typical kind of goofball reality that you run into. So let's check these. Now, the first thing you always check when you do something, when you're dealing with most energies, particularly scalar energies, you want to use a wooden pendulum. Very important because they pick up the most sensitive energies. If you're using metal, they're affected by electromagnetism. And secondly, this is not electromagnetism. If you start putting metals in, you're making an error, and this will hurt your testing capacities. Some metals can pick up scalar, particularly metals that are diverse, or gold, silver, precious metals can pick some of that up, but you're not going to have a gold pendulum unless you're some billionaire. So, and the point is, you're still dealing with metals that there are all sorts of electromagnetic energies that they're picking up just because of the fact that they are metal. So you always use wood. So what we always do when you test these things, and hopefully we can see this pretty good. It's hard to tell with these cameras. Does this have positive energy? Meaning, does it have a clockwise spin? Yes or no? And yes is clockwise. No is counterclockwise. Okay, so this has positive energy. In general, doesn't mean it does anything. And let's check this one. Does this put out basic positive energies? Yes. Again, that's like asking, is water wet? But there's a lot of products out there that you'll buy that actually put out negative energy, even some products that contain evil energy from the infiltration into the alternative sciences by a large group of Satanists for over 30 years now. Now, the other thing you want to do is that you want to test on a scale of 1 to 10 what is the power. Now, if something is not a 4 or a 5, it makes no change. So the whole idea, you've got to have products that make change. It's not good enough to be nice. Oh, the energy is good, but will that good energy change anything? Because you're using it for a particular reason. And of course, as I said, you want to keep things simple. So 1 to 5 is a great scale. That way you can really get a feeling of the actual energy. So you hold the pendulum over it, and then you say, is this a 1? Give it a couple of seconds to get going. Is it a 2? So you can see that this is already just a 2, which means it does nothing. Unless it's a 4 or 5, it does nothing. It's just a lump of glass that's blue. Is this energy a 1? 2? 3? So again, this is a 3. A little better than this, but 3 is not enough power to do anything with. Now, this company claims it has, it tries to trick people, of course, tricks people with everything it does, that it has a patent. It has a patent on how to measure tachyons, which isn't possible to have because tachyons don't exist by regular science. So I don't know what con game they pulled off. And they also say they don't want to patent their process to make tachyons into this accumulated material because they don't want to give their secrets out. Of course, they don't want to help mankind. After all, this guy is hooked up to the actual Middle European Arabs, which he seems to be in love with. His name is Wagner, and of course, he's heavily connected to the Germans. That ought to tell you something right there. So it's a bunch of fake science like you always get from the Germans. A bunch of nonsense lies, just like Einstein put out, so they can push their ways on the planet and suck more money out of you while they control you. He doesn't have a patent. He has a patent on a process, which I'm assuming anybody can get, but I don't know how the patent could prove anything. How can you measure something if it doesn't even exist? So this is the kind of fraudulent type of stuff you'll get out of advanced tachyon products. I've also had other problems with them where they caused all sorts of problems, called me up. He claimed to be David Wagner and called me up when I asked those certain questions. So the whole idea is these people, and I called them back at their number, and of course couldn't get him on the phone. How convenient. But I had emails with him that state that he was David Wagner and that he would communicate that way, and I said, well, that's not good enough for me. And secondly, it wasn't him. And I had several calls from people of this organization harassing me and causing problems because, after all, they're involved with those very questionable and, I allege, fraudulent organizations that are in his field and are hooked up, of course, to the Indo-Arabs that occupy Central Europe. So this is the problem. Of course, anytime you find connections like that, you have to be very careful because there's absolutely nothing that has come out of that part of the world that has any value. It's all fraudulent, stolen information, and nothing hasn't been invented by these people except for theft. Of course, they want to tell you that, and they want to bring on their fake scientists, and of course, they'll claim everybody they possibly can. So that's why they claim people like Einstein. So the point is there isn't. And we saw here this had a little more energy, but that's not enough to make change. Let's show you the difference with my discs. Now, my discs have 3 energies in them. We have tachyon energies, we have neutrinos, and we have gravitons. Now, scalar energies through my exclusive process can be drawn into any any item, because you can put items on top of this disc, by using this unique process that has been proven to work on many, many levels. So using my special data drawing system and attaching to what are occultons, which create these energies, you can attach to coltons, you can tell the coltons to produce whatever energy you want because there's a secret encoded program that's in a disk that uses tones, numbers, and lots of sigil energy that draws in, lots of patterns, geometric patterns that draw energies in. And again, we can ask this, what is the level of this? Is it a 1? Is it a 2? Is it a 3? Is it a 4? So you can see that this is putting out a level of 4 energy, which means it does something. You can see how large the spin is. Notice how the spin is at least 10 times larger than the other ones. That shows a very energetic tool. These, you're not going to get any of that energetic tool in. So we know this is a pathetic 2, and it puts out pathetic 2 energies. You're not going to see much of a spin. You're getting that little tiny spin. We can even put 2 of these together, and you're not going to get an increase in spin. This is just basically glass, as far as I understand, that has color in it. I can see when I put 2 together, we're getting that same pathetic spin. Now, it basically has positive energy. But again, positive energy is meaningless. You want energy that creates change. So you need something that's a 4 or a 5. And again, this only puts out 3 with it. And as I said, there's a few other people, but, you know, they want a lot of money for all these tachyons. And I'm certainly not going to spend a lot of money testing a bunch of junk. I've been doing this for years, and I'm no longer testing other people's stuff because nothing out there has value unless I produce it myself. And that's the reason why I built so many products, write courses, etc. I'm really uninterested in selling products, but I really have no choice. It does fund the organization now. And nobody makes any products that are worth it in. Look at this junk. I think they want $60 for something like this. It's such a ripoff, and this guy has made a fortune with this, and he has connected all sorts of really bad research. They would then take, they did some, and they claim they do research. They went ahead and, I think it was blue-green algae or spirulina, and they said they, quote, charged it with tachyon energy, and they were testing it at a hospital. Now, I don't know what happened there or not with that study. And you can't really believe anything that pretty much anybody says, but certainly this company that has very questionable background and who has deliberately tried to defraud me in several areas. All of this is very questionable. But the point is that you don't test a substance that is charged. The substance itself, or the energy itself. So healers that are able to heal people, particularly advanced martial artist people, by just waving their hand at them, are using pure energy, and they're creating instantaneous cures and changes. They're not giving you a substance. So when you give somebody a substance, you can never really know whether the energy changed them or the substance. That's called bogus, low-level research. It's worthless. So the bottom line is, could you get the same results just giving somebody spirulina? Well, of course it is, and they made sure they picked something like that. So everything that they make is a questionable, if not basically fraudulent representation of that project. So they have no proof of anything. They really haven't come up with any tests. They sell this stuff. They've been very highly financed by very questionized people, because you can go to New Age fairs, and they used to have giant booths that would cost a lot of money and draw a lot of attention. And, you know, products that are moronically simple to use, I mean, you just get this little glass thing and you tape it on where it hurts, and that's it. So people love that nonsense. And, of course, you know, you're always going to get a percentage. And a percentage of people who live in this area of thinking it worky for me can be as high as 50 to 60% in the short term. In the long term, it comes down probably to, it can be as high as 15 to 20%. After all, you've got a problem and you want it to work, and you're always saying to yourself, well, something's happening. Or what you're really saying, I hope something happens. I really want this to help me. So the whole idea is very difficult to do any kind of testing with people, and you'd have to do a lot of it. And as I said, I tested this for over 20 years with a few thousand customers, and nobody really got any great results from it. So I already done my research in this area, and this is the reason why I dropped them. And I discovered how to grab scalar energies and put them into my unique disk form. There was no need to sell these physical products that are super expensive. You can charge anything with tachyons, neutrinos, and gravitons, a nice mix of energies, by the way, by putting them on this disk, and then they will hold that energy. But you can charge anything with that by putting it on the disk. You can also put your picture on a disk. So my entire disk system is amazing, powerful, and inexpensive in the long run. We have also lots of different machines that help amplify the process as well. But the core, the software, the thing that makes your computer work, the thing that you get results from is the software. And this is the software which is very special, very unusual, and it's impossible to copy because there's so many things inputted into this technology that you don't even see and cannot be pulled apart by analysts. So, but you've got all sorts of things going when you use this. Now, other than some goofball technique that he claims he puts glass things like this in some machine that produce it, and produces what? What has anybody done to this? And it is not patented, and it can't be patented. I don't know if you can patent a process, pouring, motor oil on top of a cantaloupe, and then that process does this. I don't know if you can patent that or not, just like they patent a process to find energies that don't exist. Well, there's something really wrong with the patent system if they allow that going on, if that's a real patent. It could be a patent they just put up or just claim they have. We don't know. As I said, this organization has absolutely no credibility whatsoever. You're wasting your money buying such stuff at very high prices. They sell all sorts of trinkets, jewelry, charged vitamins, and so many other things, crystals. Well, the bottom line is I've tried all these and gotten zero results. Headbands they've charged, clothing they charge. And I've used these on different things and had other people that had different conditions try them and wear zero results. It would be nice, but you're not going to get it from this kind of people and this kind of organizations with their very odd connections to very dubious people. And in general, the kind of shenanigans they pulled on me and the misrepresentation within their society and phone calls that went directly to their office. So this company has absolutely no credibility, and I allege that they have quite a few nefarious connections with a bunch of bad people, and they're ripping you off, which I'm sure they're getting praised for from their German Arab masters. So the point is that's exactly what you have with this stuff. So none of these, except my technology, generates any of these. And the combination of these three energies does produce a nice energy. This energy can be used with anything. It's a neutral energy. We call these kind of discs, along with several other types, is they're amplifying type discs. This doesn't produce a result. Just like putting this is not going to... Tachyon energies have to be programmed to do something. Just energizing something has very minor, if any, effects at all. It's the same thing like this. You can put that energy in there, but you have to use another energy, whatever that is. Maybe that's money drawing. So you put a money drawing disc on top of that. Where's my money drawing disc, monkey? So the whole idea is that you have to program that energy into something else. It is not tachyon. Tachyon energy for what? They're saying that you stimulate this and it creates some sort of change as it enters the body and restores your well-being. This is a long shot, but the point is, if you're trying to manifest with it, you have to connect it to something. And you have to program that energy. That's what I do when I program the scalar energy fields. They're programmed for money, for success, for high states of well-being, for wisdom, etc. These are used for everything in life. And this is something that everyone needs to understand, and don't get caught up in all this nonsense. I've tested hundreds of products from all over the world, and I find that almost all of them are bogus. They don't produce enough energy to create change. So the point is, they may have nice energy, and it's nice, but does it do anything? Nope. Does nothing. So nice energy does absolutely nothing. You need strong energies programmed to make a particular change. So if you're trying to draw money to yourself, you need to have an empowered energetic field that draws money to you. Not just draws energy to you. You want money energy. And you could place this, a disc like this, underneath the money energy disc, and that's going to further energize that particular energy. So that's the way it works. And of course, none of these people understand any of it because they don't know anything. And I'm really the only force physics expert out there that knows what's going on. Nobody else knows anything. They live in the world of really bogus thought forms that produce absolutely nothing. And they have nothing to show for it. These tachyon people, the radionic people, they have absolutely nothing. So you could use this, and then here's easy times, which brings general success. Now you're energizing the energy in there. It's as simple as that, and you can put your photograph on there, etc., and send the energy to you. That's all the quantum physics of it, where you're transferring scalar energies, non-electromagnetic fields, which basically permeate everything. There's no way of stopping them. You can control them and accumulate them to a degree. So that's all part of the process. But you certainly are not going to do that with most anything else. You got to know what you're doing. You have to be very skilled, very trained, and there's nobody out there that knows any of this. So that's the sad, and that's why there's so much garbage out there, and people are producing all sorts of garbage, and they have absolutely no proof of anything that they have to do. I've had research for over 25, 30 years now, and I have a testimonial page of that. I only put up a tiny bit of the testimonials. It would go on forever, but the bottom line is that lots of people say it works. Other people, and these can be tested, and of course all this costs a lot of money. Well, Tachyon people, you got all this money, why don't you do it? Well, you don't do it, and you're not patenting your process, your actual method of tachyon, because you can't. Maybe you can patent the process, whatever that means. But that doesn't mean anything. It just means you're patenting A, B, and C together as a process, and I don't know if that's able to be done or not. But that doesn't prove that the process does anything, because you can't measure this, and it's a theoretical energy. How could you possibly patent it? And how are you going to prove it? Anybody that can prove that tachyons exist in the real scientific world by the goofballs that run everything would be a miracle unto itself. It is not possible with common science, which almost everything is not possible with common science, isn't it? So let's burn it. You know, that's what science is all about. So burn it. How do we generate energy? Burn it. How do we treat illnesses? We burn it. So this is the kind of reality that you get from the religious scientists that are steeped in dogma and produce virtually no results whatsoever. So everyone needs to understand that. That's the facts about tachyons and what's out there. If you want to use this energy and have the nice bonus of neutrinos and gravitons, you use my tech, which will bring in those energies, and you can place anything you want on top of this, and it will give it a boost if it's some other energy, or maybe you just want to energize something as a general energy. You can place things on top of there. But generally, as I said, you have to use, it has to energize something. So what is this energizing? You're just getting tachyon that's supposed to do something? Well, it does nothing. It has to be in a particular fashion, and you have to prove that something is being energized, not a supplement that you're energizing and then giving that to a person that you claim that supplement works better because you have, quote, tachyonized it. It's just nonsense. Just bad science. But, all these people you can certainly be guaranteed will give you a lot of bad science. And unfortunately, these people are very questionable. And as I said, I allege even past that. And most of the other people that are putting out products have no proof that any of their stuff works. It just doesn't put out enough energy. And it would be great if everybody spent time researching, but they're not spending time researching and perfecting their products. They're spending time selling it, taking money out of your pocket. Until next time.